Hey, this is Kelly from the Dolly Rocks.
This is Joe Queer from the Infamous Queers.
Hey, Sleepy P. Martini.
Hey, this is Indica Flower.
And you are listening to
Our Brains Hurt.
Our Brains Hurt.
Our Brains Hurt.
Losers.
Well, they needed a jingle for their stupid little show, so they called up the Jasons and we said, fuck no. Then they called us again and they gave us $20 and we wrote them a song that said, your podcast sucks. Then they gave us more money and they asked us really nice and we finally gave in and we said, all right, I'll write you a song, but it's gonna be a clone of a Screeching Weasel song that we heard a while ago. So we wrote them a jingle and it sounded really rad. It was the best little jingle that their podcast ever had, but the file got corrupted and the email didn't work. Now they're stuck without a jingle singing our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. In a very non-copyright infringing sort of way.
So yeah, I got my ticket for Strung Out, dude. That's exciting.
Sweet.
It's gonna be rad.
Yeah.
I can't find an Airbnb close enough. So it might just be best to go the hotel room route.
Yeah.
We just all get a room in the same hotel or whatever.
Airbnbs also are like loaded now with like hidden fees and
Yeah, it's not worth it anymore. It's just as expensive as a hotel.
yeah, it's more expensive than a hotel.
Yeah.
Actually.
Because you have like, it'll show you like the price for the night. And then once you click on it, by the time you're done booking it, it's like there's always a cleaning fee attached.
Yeah.
There's like the taxes are insane on the fucking things.
And then the owners will tack on just like unseen fees sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
It's almost like double the price that it's announced for when you look it up.
yeah. Yep. Have you ever been to the Norville before?
No.
Yeah, it's like right in like downtown Norfolk.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool spot.
Cool.
It's that little like downtown area in Norfolk. It's pretty chilling.
I'm gonna the day after that, I'm gonna go visit my brother-in-law in Virginia Beach probably for a night.
Yeah, there you go.
Since I'm going down that way.
There you go.
But that night I'll definitely be chilling in the hotel because hopefully we'll be hanging out with Strung Out.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. We shall see.
I wonder when they're gonna drop their new record.
It should be done, right? Like
Yeah, they've
done.
long been out of the studio.
Yeah.
So mixing and mastering, I'm sure is done. But
All right, so tonight we're talking to Trev Allen of the Struggling Artist podcast.
oh yeah.
Good friend of the show, Bree.
Yeah, a good friend of the show. That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
I'm actually a little bit excited for this one because he seems to do good work over there with his podcast, and then we're gonna go on his podcast next week.
Yeah.
So I always like cross-platforming with people. It's fun.
Hell yeah. I love being on somebody else's. I don't have to prepare anything. I just sit back and
Yeah.
yeah.
Just sit back and be Italian.
I'm not perverted. I'm just Italian.
Governor Cuomo. It's not even a joke.
Quote of the century.
Yeah, quote of the century. I still can't believe you said that shit.
I think it ranks. You have 407 years ago, and then I'm not perverted. I'm just Italian.
It's funny too because like the entire world outside of Italians were like, "What the fuck?" And all Italians were just like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
I've said that so many times. Finally,
Yeah.
finally, somebody with a major platform.
He really gets us. He's one of us. Yeah.
All right, Trev is in the room. I'm going to let him in. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Fucking freezing my ass off up here in New
Oh
England.
yeah. What's the temperature right now?
Oh, I don't know. Probably 30. So I don't like cold weather. I grew up in New England and I fucking hate the cold. So
I grew up in Virginia and I hate the humidity. So we have something in common there.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't like humidity either. God damn.
We like to punish ourselves.
Yeah.
Are you in Massachusetts?
Yeah. Yep.
It's getting
What part?
humid up where you are now too.
Where? Up
in
here?
the summer.
In the summers, yeah.
Oh, it's always been humid here.
Well, my aunt and uncle bought a house in Acton, Boxborough,
Mm-hmm.
back in I want to say it was like 1984, maybe. And they never had AC in their house up until like, I don't know, like 5-6 years ago.
Oh yeah,
They
it's
had to do
been weird. Yeah, it has like the weather, like just the climate change. I guess you know what I mean.
or something.
Something.
Yeah.
So I know, like when I first moved into this place, like we were in like a snow belt. We get hammered with snow all the time. Last year, I didn't have to shovel once. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
awesome.
That's pretty crazy for Massachusetts.
Yeah. So
You a sports fan?
sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes, yeah. I mean, I was a Red Sox fan since I was 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
I mean, you
And-
have to be up there.
Yeah. I hate the Patriots. Can't stand the Patriots.
Oh, nice.
My stepfather was from Seattle, so like whenever we could watch him growing up before you could watch anything you wanted. Whenever we could watch him, we did. So I just kind of stuck with that,
Gotcha.
I played football, so I don't know. Watching football was like weird for me.
Yeah.
So. Are we already going? Is this already on or?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we
Oh.
edit, so
We just go. That's
Yeah,
how we do
I
it.
played football, so like watching football, like I had there was a few years where I got into it. I don't know, man. I can't be a fan, like a fan, like the crazy fans, like especially out here, like with these people. I don't want to be associated with the fandom that's out here for sports. I really don't. Like I remember the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and a friend of mine was like, he like called me and he's like, "Congrats!" And I'm like, "I didn't play. They benched me." What the fuck? Then the next year they lose to the Patriots, and everyone at work is riding my ass. But I won like $800 in Super Bowl squares, so I was like,
Nice.
"Just shut up and pay me. I don't give a
Hell
fuck."
yeah. Hell yeah.
It doesn't affect my life at all. They lost,
Yeah.
So I can't call myself like a true, football fan or anything like that.
You guys are spoiled up there, man, the past couple decades.
Yeah. I remember the heartache though, at least with
The
the Red
Patriots
Sox.
were horrible back in the day. Forever.
Oh yeah, and they're horrible
Yeah.
again. It's great.
Yeah.
They
I love
went
it.
to the Super Bowl in '85.
Were they
They lost to the Bears.
against the
yeah.
Bears? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I played football through. I started playing football in high school, and I played semi-pro for a few years. And
No shit. What position did you play?
I was a defensive lineman, and then I got older and slower and had to go to offensive guard.
Nice.
But I got, I'm 6'5", 400 pounds. Like I have a huge
Nice.
reach. That's how I got. I had good grip strength. That's how I was. I'll be honest with you. Like I don't really understand. Like I was good at football, but it was like a natural thing. Like playing defense was the most mindless job I could do. Oh, that
Yeah.
guy. Okay, yeah, come here.
Yeah, get the ball.
Yeah, and I had long arms and a really good grip strength, so
Yeah.
I could grab a guy in high school, and throw
Hell
him
yeah.
around. So, but like when I started playing offense, I had to learn how to play football.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different,
Yeah. Yeah, offensive line. There's like shit you got to do.
Too much.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, I tell the guy next to me, tell me where I'm going.
Yeah.
Just tell me where I'm going.
No, D line is the shit, man. I played guard in high school. I just played for 1 year in high school. But I played nose tackle a couple times. That was just like once the ball snapped, get the quarterback. It's
Yeah.
just like it's so fun. It's just so mindless and just it's just
When I was in high school, it was my junior year. I was like a captain of the junior varsity, and I started varsity. But they moved me to middle linebacker for some reason, for like 3 or 4 plays, and I was just like, this is fucking awesome. I could see everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a dummy. I'm like, coach, I know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, shut up. So yeah, it was fun. I know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And again, I was playing semi-pro. I played a few years in my early to mid 20s. Then I took a couple years off and went back and it was cool. It was fun until you get hurt or something. And I'm like, oh wow, I still have to go to work.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Semi-pro is very like, it's just a glorified club. It's not really anything like, it's not like semi-pro basketball or hockey, AHL or anything like that.
Yeah.
The minor leagues. So like it was like, yeah, all right, that was an eye opener. I just turned 30 and I'd gotten hurt, and I was just like, I can come back from this. And then I was like, why do I want to come back from this? So I had to call it quits, And they're like, why don't you coach? And I'm like, I don't know how to play this fucking game. So, so that's how that all went. But it was a lot of fun though. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I played too. I just miss playing sports. I played a lot of sports, and
Yeah.
I'm almost 45 now, and it's like it doesn't go so well.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I know. I hear you. Fucking getting up sometimes doesn't go so well. I'm 42.
Yeah.
I put my body through a lot of torture over the years, so now it's like catching up to me.
Yeah, I'm 46, and today I went to go fix one of my cabinets. I was like laying down on the kitchen floor, and it was time to get up, and I was like, shit. I have to I'm like all four, like my arms and legs spread out.
So I want to ask you guys, since you're both in your 40s,
Yeah.
Have you ever fallen? Like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Like old man Withers, like broke his hip.
Like
kind of
you just slip and fall.
Not yet.
So I was living in Tennessee, and I was walking out to my car. I was running. I was like kind of like moving faster than I should have been. Well, maybe should have been, but I like did a banana peel fucking slip. And I hit the ground, and I just lay there, and I was like, is anything broken? You know what I mean? Like I'm just like I'm laying there, and I'm kind of like, all right, everything seems to be okay. And I was thinking to myself, like, if you're hurt, you're not going to yell for help because you're a stubborn fucking, 80s baby. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm just going to lay here and die. If I broke something, my roommate's going to come home to a dead giant on his carport. Luckily, I just banged up my knee a little bit, but it hurt my pride more than anything. Like I was fucking really upset about the whole fall,
Since both of you guys mentioned banana peels and slipping on them, have you ever experienced why that was a thing in cartoons back in the day and why it's a saying?
No.
Those motherfuckers are actually slippery.
Did you actually ever slip on a banana peel?
Did you do it on purpose?
No.
Experiment? Was this an experiment?
Yeah, I was in a grocery store parking lot one day, walking, just going in the grocery store, and there was a fucking banana peel in the parking lot. And I was with some friends, and I walked over to it, and I was like, look, banana peel, I'm gonna slip. And I stepped on it, and I was like, poof, and I caught myself, and I was like, oh shit, that shit's real.
I remember a buddy of mine never stepped on a skateboard his entire life.
No.
We were like 25 and drunk, and he was like, let me show you assholes how to do this. And it was like a cartoon, just up in the air.
Yeah.
Glass flew, the glass drink flew everywhere. And yeah, man.
I hope he lost his shoes because it's not comical unless you lose your shoes.
Oh man. Going to shows like at 42 is different too now for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you stand in the back with your arms crossed, bobbing your head.
Yeah, and it's like because of the podcast, people know me now, so it's like people come up and say hi, and I'm like, hello.
Yeah.
I don't play an instrument. I'm not a musician, so it's like I don't know. I'm just like I just want to come here and listen to the music or whatever. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just like I'm either stage like side stage left or like merch table. That's my spots.
I'm the same way, and I went this past, or not a year ago now, last April, I went to see the Gorilla Biscuits in Baltimore, and my friend Dylan, who's also my age, was like, "Dude, we got to go right up front." I was like, "I'm not. There's no fucking way I'm going up front for the Gorilla Biscuits, like of all fucking bands."
Yeah,
and he talked me into it. We went all the way up front, and I was right against the stage, and he was behind me, and since I was against the stage, all the people who were stage diving would go over me and hit him. So I was okay. But I felt bad a few times because like I would duck and I just knew like he was getting blasted by dudes, but he, it was his idea to go up there.
That's it.
Whatever.
You live by the sword, the sword, I was never like a mosher either though. Like I would be on, I tried it once when I was like young, when my buddy was like, hey, this is called slam dancing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
back in the late 80s or whatever. And like I just like launched my friend across the room, and I'm like, I don't want to hurt nobody. So I was always the guy I was always the guy that picked everybody up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
pick up the people and be like, all right, here you go. Get back in there and fall again. So
Yeah,
it was
stand
I
on
was,
the edge.
so
Make
I
sure
was
nobody falls.
yeah. So you can still be interactive and not be in the pit, like
Totally.
you know what I'm saying. So
I used to get in there. Those days are over though.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are both musicians though, right? So you guys still play shows and stuff, or
We haven't played shows since 2020,
oh,
right?
wow.
Since COVID. COVID kind of
yeah. No, I mean that happens, right?
killed our bands.
Yeah. I haven't played it. The last show I played was 2019.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's the last one I'm ever going to play.
Right.
I'm a punk rock bass player. I wouldn't say I'm a musician. You could teach a monkey to play bass in a punk band. It's the easiest way. If you ever want to be in a band, be a bass player in a punk band.
Pick up a bass.
Yeah.
Go get a Squire.
Yeah. And if you suck, just lower that bass, lower that volume.
Somehow spelled SQUIER.
That's right. We learned that.
I had my grandfather. I've told this story like on my podcast before. So my grandfather was a musician and old Italian guy. They called him Jazz. Like he had all the old school Italians in my hometown, like all had nicknames. And he went around to all the different Italian clubs and played. And he had a band with his cousin Benny was played in the band with him. And so he had this guitar. So Guild used to have a factory in my hometown. And he worked there for a time. And in my head, like I'm a storyteller. So like in my head, this is so glorious. Like he handmade this guitar himself. You know what I mean? Because they're but anyway, so like it was probably like a 60s or 70s model. And when I was 10, he gave it to me. And he was like, I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar. And he was he played by ear, and he was like a pick player.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so excited to learn how to play this guitar and stuff. And I would play around with it and stuff before he would teach me, like before our lessons. And I broke a string and he was like, oh, I'll get it fixed for you. And he took the guitar and he hawked it on a gambling debt. So like it broke my heart. And so in my head, it broke my heart and I never wanted to learn guitar again. But I think in reality, I was probably just lazy and didn't want to learn anymore. You know what I mean?
That's the most Italian ending to a story I've ever heard in my life. I'm Italian, so I could say that. So.
Yeah. I know you. I listened to the podcast.
Yeah, and my family were all bookies.
I wore my Goodfellas shirt for you.
Yeah. That is fucking funny, man.
So did you grow up in like an Italian community?
So my dad was in the Navy, so we kind of moved around, but my family is from the Bronx. So we would always go back there in the summer and for holidays and stuff.
No Italians there.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. So my family came over from half from Sicily, half from Naples, and they came to New York City back in the 30s, 20s and 30s. And they've been in New York since. So yeah, my childhood is always like New York in the summer times when I'm off school. I was in New York in the Bronx every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every Easter, always up there. My family's still up there. I just got back last week from visiting again.
Ron's uncle was in the mob.
Yeah. So I have a cousin who was arrested recently, and his nickname was Tugboat because it was in the newspaper. It's actually my grandfather's nephew. So he was actually one of the biggest bookies on the East Coast. He's banned from Las Vegas. He was in jail for a while. And I guess recently, he was still doing books, even though gambling's legal, and I don't know how they still do it. But
it's like the difference between like the states where weed's legal now, having a dispensary and still selling it on the street.
Yeah, no taxes. Yeah. It's still a little cheaper, probably.
Yeah.
But he was arrested.
And you can hit people with hammers and
yeah. He was arrested probably like 6-7 years ago with like people in the Gambino family. I don't think he's connected, but he's a hangaround probably because he's a bookie.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a bookie who worked for my other cousin who was like kind of a really big deal in as far as bookies go. When my grandfather was dying of cancer, I used to drive him around on his runs to collect. So we'd be driving through New York City, and I would be driving the Cadillac, and he'd be sitting next to me, and like he'd be like, "All right, pull up to this building," and we pull up, and the doorman would come out and shake his hand with like a bunch of money in it. All right, drive down the street. He would just tell me all this stuff. I recently told my father that I didn't want to tell my father while my grandparents were still alive because he would have been pissed. But my grandfather was totally grooming me. Because before he got cancer, he was going to open up his own bookie place. He had a friend who had a dry cleaners in Manhattan, and his friend was going to let him have the back room to run his operation out of.
A dry cleaner.
Yeah. So he was teaching me the books, and he would send me on runs, like he would, send me to these delis to collect and shit. But he got really sick and passed away shortly after that. But I finally told, because my grandmother passed away a year ago, and after she passed away, I told my dad all the stories. He was just like, "Fuck."
Now, is this your father's family or your mother's family?
Father's family.
Father's family. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I grew up. It was not like that. It was not extravagant. We just jazzed the musician. You know what I mean? But
That's cool.
But like,
Yeah.
so where I grew, I don't know. Is this boring for your podcast? Should we not?
No, not at all.
So like my hometown was like, it was primarily like Italian. It's predominantly Italian town.
Is this still Massachusetts?
No, this is in Rhode Island.
Okay, Rhode Island.
So yeah, and like there were big lot of people from Calabria, and
there's a lot of people with my last name in Rhode Island. A lot.
Oh yeah.
Sococcio. There's a lot of Sococcios in Rhode Island. I don't know if I'm related to them or not, but but go ahead.
Yeah. So they Westerly. I don't know if you ever heard of the town's called Westerly, and they're known for like their granite, like Westerly granite.
Okay.
It's like a big thing in the granite world, and there was like a lot of farmers there for a long time. So they were all farmers and granite workers that came over. And my great grandparents actually met in Rhode Island. They weren't like married when they came over,
Gotcha.
which is weird, right? That's kind of like that's usually not how it goes. But yeah, so they were from Acre,
Okay.
and which is, I don't know, some little town over by Consenza and Calabria and whatever, So, but yeah, that's so my grandfather was like, he was a musician, and he was a farmer. And we used to sell vegetables. I remember my earliest memories, we lived on this like vegetable farm. That's what he did. So I was kicking shit out the back, kicking fucking cow shit out into the fields with him when I was a little kid. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's not as like, it would probably been a lot more fun if we were in Italy doing it, right? So.
Oh, hell yeah. The Italian guys and their vegetables, man. My great grandfather had a vegetable garden in his backyard. I remember he would have eggplant. You grow eggplant and shit. Yeah.
Did you grow any? I grew some. I've grown peppers a few times.
I haven't.
In honor of my grandfather. Yeah.
I should, but I haven't. I gamble in honor of my grandfather. So
yeah. Well, I won't, because my grandfather hawked that fucking guitar on me. He got like a lot of money for it. It was 1991. He got like close to 10 grand for the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So imagine what it was worth today,
Yeah.
So but it ruined me as a musician. It ruined it. I walked away from the industry, never to come back.
Yeah, but now you got this podcast.
Yes.
I do have a podcast.
Talk about the podcast.
Okay.
Struggling Artist Podcast.
Yeah. So the Struggling Artist Podcast is it's my love letter to music, actually, because music has affected me my entire life in more positive ways than negative ones. And it was like kind of like I when it became a music podcast, because it wasn't always that. It was kind of like I was like, hey, I'm gonna try to help some of these bands that I love listening to.
How long have you been doing it for, by the way?
I originally 2017, and then I relaunched January 2020.
Okay.
So I went on hiatus, and then it became a music thing early 2021. So.
Yeah, because it's not always been like just straight music, right? You dabble into other.
Yeah, I'll dabble. I'll have some people, like I've had a few authors on in recent years. People connected to the music world, right? I'll have like people who are still on radio or used to be on radio, or music producers, whoever, and it's not like about. I mean, it's about music, but it's not, right? We kind of do what we're doing here, right? You just kind of chop it up with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have conversations. That's what podcasts are. They're a fucking interview. It's a conversation.
It's definitely no junket, like, you know what I mean? So, but I kind of do that, and again, like I think it helps with like people who love music the way we love music, like to hear a musician just talk about like life and stuff. I think it's real relatable, and it helps. I think it makes people love it that much more.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. I'm a storyteller, as I said before, so I love hearing stories. I love hearing people's stories. Like I had a guest on who did 20 years in prison for something that they never really they had no evidence that he did. He sticks to his, that he was innocent. And he's a musician, and like, so he told me about like having a band while he was locked up, you know what I mean, and how it all started and why he has.
They can do that when they're locked up. Had they have?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think you can make profit from any kind of art. They did that with Charles Manson. Started that one. Yeah. They said they made it so you can't make profit, but I mean, there's ways around it, obviously. Yeah,
Matt knows the record label that the dude who runs the record label that signed.
Dude,
Manson.
Yeah, my good friend of mine, Mark Eystone, who we've been friends since high school, runs a skate shop here in Fredericksburg. His older brother had started a record label back in the late 90s. And dude hit success with his little indie label. Like he put out the first releases by like Boy Sets Fire and Cave In. But yeah, few years after that, a friend of his hit him up and basically said like, hey, I got a proposition for you. And he was like, all right, shoot. And he said, Charles Manson. And he was like, what do you mean Charles Manson? He's like the Charles Manson in jail. Charles Manson. Like, yeah. He was like, has been looking for somebody to put his music out for a long time. What do you think? And he mulled over it for a while and said, fuck it, all press is good press. He ended up putting out 2 EPs by fucking Charles Manson. Manson and Charles, before he died, he used to call Brent once a month, and they'd have this like hour or two long conversation on the phone. Because their last name is Eystone. So I guess Charles used to call him the Eystone and considered Brent one of the family. Until he died. Yeah, until he died. Yeah. Crazy, right? I know. I still got the posters from the EP somewhere.
Yeah, and he couldn't profit off of that though, right? He
no, he just wanted it to get put out. Yeah,
he wanted to get it put out there. Yeah. He's an example. Like he's like him and Donald Trump. Like they have this thing where people just fucking flock to him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a weird thing, and
it's almost like a sixth sense, if you will.
Yeah, it's strange. And one went into prison and died in prison, and one was our president. That's fucked up. I mean, that's fucked up. And if you want to think about it, like who actually had more influence of the two? Who do you think has more influence or who had more influence over?
Oh man,
for culture as the two.
That's a solid question.
I mean, Trump, I would say, like,
yeah.
I mean, did he though? Because like. Well, yeah, I guess I was about to say, do you think Trump could get people to murder for him? But yeah, he definitely could.
Yeah, Manson had influence over a group of people, but
remember before all that shit went down, he was like hanging out with the Beach Boys.
That's true, yeah,
and was a musician, and
he sure was.
People loved that dude. Previous to that,
yeah.
If they would have just signed him, man, damn.
Yeah,
Sharon Tate might still be here. That's fucked up.
That's great. That's
so
crazy.
Fucked up, man.
That's crazy that we're equating a U.S. president to Charles Manson.
It's a reality, though.
Yeah,
they're all politicians are fucking serial killers that haven't killed yet. That's all they are.
Well, that we know of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, some of them probably have. Clinton's allegedly.
Easy. Is there a knock on my door? I just heard a knock on my door.
I do not want to commit suicide.
Yeah, so that's the podcast, man. It's basically this, it's similar to this one, and it just, again, like I've had actors on, I've had a few people that acted on and stuff like that. And I just like, for me, it was like, it really was like, just like, I just love hearing people's stories. And like, I've always romanticized music because I'm terrible at it, much like baseball, right? I was saying that earlier. So like for me, it was just like, it just made sense. And I almost gave up. Like I moved from Pittsburgh, well, right outside of Pittsburgh, back to Massachusetts. And like I went like 3 weeks. I was like depressed as fuck. And like, I was like, this is over. And my cousin was like, you gotta keep going, man. It's a good podcast. So I was like, I'm gonna ask 2 people. And if one of the 2 people say yes, they'll come on, then maybe I'll keep it going. And both of them had said yes. And one of them was one of them I became friends with, and it's just weird that we became friends because like his punk band was like his punk band was like my the punk band that I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like the one that really opened my eyes and was like, there's people out there like me. You know what I'm saying?
Who was it?
Mark Lind from the Ducky Boys.
Oh, I know the Ducky Boys.
Okay, yeah.
They're a good band.
Yeah. So like that was like, I went to a Dropkick Murphy concert with a friend, and they opened, and I was like, this is my music. Like this is my. So through that, like that, and I was like, I just started talking to more musicians. It just naturally progressed to that. Doesn't mean I won't talk to people who aren't musicians. I still do what I want. It's my show, right?
Yeah.
I'm not,
Hell yeah.
so.
Yeah, same.
But I think creativity, I think people who listen and like hear a band that like to hear a musician talk about like they hung it up for years to raise their kid, and then they decided at 40 they were going to make a band, and they're a good band, and you know what I'm saying? Like I think that stuff, I think some of that stuff is encouraging. So
hell yeah. Do you remember, like, I always like to find out like when people first got into punk rock and kind of like some of the first bands that made you fall in love with the genre, like, kind of what were you going through at the time and how did you find it?
So I don't know, because like I've always listened to, like, I never really, to me everything was just rock and roll music, and I still kind of think that way, but like I remember like the fun. All right, I'm gonna have to turn in my punk card right now. I remember listening to the Misfits and like in Black Flag and stuff, and like this is good. And then I remember like listening to Danzig and listening to the Rollins band, and had no idea that either one of them were in those bands. So, like I wasn't, because I never got into it like that. I never like obsessed over like the players. You know what I mean? It was just like the music and stuff.
I think a lot of people were like that, to be honest with you, when they're especially when they were younger.
Yeah. And then I had a weird thing. Like I didn't like the Misfits for a long time in high school because like the elitist skate rats like the Misfits, and they like, they were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, so I was like, fuck them, fuck that man, And I'll also say like the first time, like I think the Misfits album that really got me, and I'm gonna lose cred for this one too, was probably American Psycho.
Fuck yeah, dude. You know what? I piss off one of my favorite things to say, because I know it drives fucking Misfits fans batty. I always like, every now and then I'll put it out on Twitter or something like, American Psycho is the greatest Misfits album of all time. It's my favorite. And I know it's not the greatest one of all time, but I love saying it because
I think and like Michael Graves is a piece of shit, and
he is a piece of shit, but that's a great album.
It was, yes. I don't know how he took over. Like, I don't know how he's the bigger piece of shit Misfit than
Danzig,
but yeah, or Danzig, yeah. But like he is. I actually met Michael Graves on a movie set that I was on.
Okay.
And he was super nice to me,
Yeah, he's a nice guy, but
I've played with him. Super nice, yeah. Super.
This
nice,
was like right before he became a Proud Boy or whatever. Like this was like,
it was before when I met him too.
Yeah.
It was before all that, which is weird. That's why I always say, I'm like, dude, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Like I don't think he is a Proud Boy. He just backed them, which is like, what the fuck are you thinking?
And then and at first he was kind of like the guy that was just like, be punk rock, but I also want to own guns. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then it started to go, and I'm not, I don't know. I don't recognize, I'm not left or right or whatever.
Yeah.
But he kept going more right. And I was like, all right,
way
hey,
too far. Yeah.
hey, reel that bitch in. You know? So
Yeah.
so they ended up taking out the part with him in the movie. They actually reshot the whole film, which
Oh, no
sucks.
shit.
Which
Okay.
sucks because I was in it, and
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
couldn't make the reshoot, so they had to recast my character. But you know, he killed me actually and that was my death was Michael, which was a pretty cool thing to happen. It was on my birthday
Yeah.
too. Michael Graves.
Nice.
Michael Graves kills me in the cut that no one will ever see.
Yeah.
And I was like the guy. I was like the slasher. I was the
Nice.
big scary monster guy. Yeah, I always wanted to be one of those, so it was cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, man. But yeah, no. So like, I don't know. So like, yeah, music. Ah, man, it's tough, man. You know, like we grew up during a really good time for music. I think
Yes. Yes, we did.
because we had all the classic stuff that was already there, and then the
Mhm.
'90s hit, and like that's where money was really there for
Yeah.
a lot of these bands.
Oh man, I've discovered this YouTube channel that I guess existed only a year ago. But it's called Punk Rock VHS.
Huh.
And there's only like maybe fucking 20 videos uploaded to that YouTube channel, but it's all VHS videos of like punk bands from the fucking 90s. And and even actually there's even one Operation Ivy from like 1988 or whatever. And just like
live videos.
yeah, from like shows and just like that were filmed on, VHS camcorders. And oh my God, did it take me back? And just like looking at some of those shows and how packed it was and how fucking crazy people were going.
Yeah.
And then going to shows nowadays. And like, man, it brought back all this shit from the 90s. It was like, man, no wonder everyone was so fucking into this back then. Like it was like an actual thing. Like now, I mean, it's still cool, but like, Ron and I are going to, and some friends going to see like Less Than Jake and Strung Out in March at the Norva in Norfolk. And like, I know that place isn't going to look anything like, what the videos I just fucking watched of this, like, I don't know. It's, it was such a great time coming out of the 80s into the 90s for music.
I always say like rock music in general wasn't supposed to be pop culture or pop. It was underground, and I think
Don't get Matt started on this, man.
I think we've hit that again. Like, and it sucks because there's so many good fucking bands out there,
Yeah.
and like I just can't like I can't like I wish these guys. I wish there was money in music still because these bands, and I'm sure you guys can give me a ton of bands from where you are, and I can give you a ton of them from New England or anywhere that because we talk to people all over the place, right? Like one of my favorite bands out of Seattle is called the Scoffs, and like they're like Slade meets Thin Lizzy. It's fucking phenomenal.
Nice.
Oh, I gotta check this out.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good. And then up here in New England. So to answer your question, I guess it's going to be that when I went to see the Dropkick Murphys and saw the Ducky Boys for the first time, because that was like that's when it was really like, yeah, this is it. I mean, I could tell you like the first Korn album was really good, but that's not punk rock, right? That's not. But like for me, it was just like I don't know, just music in general, all music. The Doors, anything weird, the Talking Heads. I think if I had to,
fuck yeah.
If I had a real Talking Heads have been my favorite band of mine since I was a little kid. So maybe them,
I went through a Doors phase in high school too. Me and my friend Tom, we used to like.
I still love the Doors.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, I'll put 5 to 1. I'll put that up. I'll put that song up against anything that comes out on the radio now.
And that first Talking Heads fucking album, dude, the one with Psycho Killer on it, what was the album called? Psycho Killer? What was the album called? Or is it just Talking Heads?
I don't remember. That's a good song though.
That first Talking Heads album is it's epically good.
Yeah.
I had a lot of like so growing up, did you guys have to listen to your parents' music and stuff? So like my mom was young. I had young parents. So
Same
my
here.
mom listened to like Talking Heads and Blondie, but she also listened to like a lot of like that 80s like what do they call it, freestyle, like a lot of synth stuff, so like I like all that shit too,
Yeah. My mom had me when she was 19, so she's really young, and she was all into like Madonna and like all the 80s shit, and I grew up on Madonna. And in fact, if you asked me up until I was like a junior in high school, like, what's your favorite music? I would just say Madonna. I was obsessed with Madonna until I was like a sophomore, junior in high school. And then I
Yes.
started getting into punk rock.
Madonna put out bangers, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Also Italian, by the way.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I'm always surrounded by Italians. I don't understand it. I just
company.
don't
It's good
get
company.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, so like music like that, like rock music was never supposed to be mainstream, and it went that way, and like you know, and I think I never resented that. I want everyone to get paid. Like,
Yeah.
I never understood the people that would hate on like against me when they got big. Like let them get paid.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's jealous.
They did it right.
Yeah.
They are actually the ones that broke the system for finally. Because they took it was like a 2-album, I think it was like a 2-year, 2-album, $10 million deal or something like that. And that they were the last ones. That's it.
Yeah.
It didn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
And because they turned around, they picked their label, the one they wanted the best. I guess it was like a sub label of like Island, I think, or something. I can't remember, but yeah, and they did their 2 years and their $10 million, and then they walked.
Yeah.
And the major music industry was like, nah, we ain't gonna let this happen anymore. This ain't the thing. No.
Yeah.
You know, I think like also too, like we're of an age now where like the bands, I think a lot of bands that we listen to, even on like the independent level, as they get older, like they're playing a different sound now too, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I think about like, I don't know, I'm not like a big pop punk fan, so like, you know, like when everyone, like I was never a Blink 182 fan. You know, like I was listening to like street punk and hardcore, you know, Blood for Blood, and you know, bands like that, and the Ducky Boys, and there's a whole list of Boston bands. I like really got sucked into the Boston music, especially being from Rhode Island, where like southern Rhode Island, it's laughable considering you can get from one end to the other in 45 minutes. But like southern Rhode Island, we didn't really have a scene, you know what I mean? We didn't have a music community. If you go back there now, you know, the biggest band in that town is a cover band. That and like Taylor Swift has a beach house, you know, that's
nice. Yeah.
Those are the two things. But like, so like you think, like you look at that stuff. So like I really gravitated. So where I was at, you either went like New Haven, Connecticut, New York, you know, hardcore, or you kind of gravitated to what was going on in Providence, and then Boston. And I went straight to Boston with it. And,
oh yeah, 10 Yard Fight, one of my favorite hardcore bands.
I remember them.
Yeah.
I don't remember them. No.
You don't remember 10 Yard Fight? Dude, you were a
do.
football player too. You got to listen to them.
I remember 10 Yard Fight. Yeah.
They sing about football. It's a hardcore band. They sing about football.
That's great. That's hilarious.
Were you an Unseen fan? Wasn't Unseen was from Boston?
Yeah, I like. Yeah, the Unseen were good. Yeah. I was, you know, I didn't go to a lot of shows either, because like I live so far, like, you know, 2 hours away. When you're a kid, it's fucking forever.
Yeah. I mean,
know?
and what especially with Providence being, I'm sure, way closer. And like,
yeah. And my first show was like a dance hall reggae show too. It wasn't even like, I love reggae. I love dance hall reggae, and like, so like my first few shows were just like, and I lived on the coast, so I guess that's part of that thing too, right? I lived in a coastal town and shit. So when I could see, you'd probably see more of that than anything with original music. So I gravitated to this Boston thing, and I always hung on to it forever. I moved out to Massachusetts, and I'm still listening to fucking Boston punk music and Boston rock and Boston, just the music out here. You know, so with the podcast, like I'm these newer bands that these younger guys, you know, late 20s, early 30s, and I'm talking to, like, they don't really know that, like, some of them don't remember what I saw, you know what I'm saying? And like, they're a different band, and like, you know, they know the names and they know the players, but like, they don't know, like, you know, but it's all the same. It's still really similar to one another.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you don't get that a lot in a lot of places. And I think that's why I have so much love for it. I call it a community. I don't call it a scene. I feel like scenes come and go. Scenes will come and go. Communities last.
Yeah.
Bands, everyone plays in each other's bands. And like, that was a thing then. It's a thing now. And everyone really helps each other out here, you know? So it's cool to see. So I talk to a lot of those, obviously, because I'm right here, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I enjoy doing it. The podcast, does pretty well, I guess. We've been nominated twice in the last 2 years for the Boston Music Awards for best
Hell
radio
yeah.
show / podcast.
That's awesome.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's cool. You know what it is? I don't ever want to win it, right? I don't want to win it, but being on the flyer, right? Isn't that's like the
Oh, yeah.
that's it, right?
Yeah.
Getting the nod, just being recognized for it. That's good enough for me.
That's cool.
So
Speaking
I
of-
don't interview any hero, like I don't interview any big time people like you guys do though. Like I listened to your Fat Mike episode. I was like, holy shit.
Oh, nice. That was like one of my biggest goals from the beginning, is to get him on, and finally we got him.
That was a good.
I was
that was
super
a-
nervous. I don't know about
that-
Matt, but I was
Real, you didn't sound it. You guys sounded
cool.
You guys
Awesome.
sounded cool and collected. It was a
Awesome.
very good conversation too, and you guys got to see, a different side of him, and I think that most people got to see.
Yeah.
Most would see.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was worried about, because I heard he could be difficult. I think we caught him on a in a good time though. For
Yeah.
yeah.
It also depends with people like him, and I don't want to lump a whole bunch of people into the same category here, but like it really depends on how you talk to people, because like when it comes to interviews, like they can seem so like genuine. Yeah, this is my cat Stripe. He
That's
does
all
this.
right.
This is
That's
what he
all right.
does.
I like it. I like it. I'm surprised Tula, my dog Tula, hasn't made an appearance.
What kind of dog you got?
She's just some mutt.
Okay.
She's
But yeah, it like it's not an interview. You have a conversation. You don't fanboy out.
yeah.
Like there's certain, if you just talk to people like they're people, generally you're not going to get the nasty side of them. If you try to ask stupid questions in an interview or kind of do a fanboy thing,
Yeah.
it can turn people off really quick sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's-
I've been on the other side of that.
yeah.
And it does suck. You try not to let it get to you, but it does. Sometimes it can suck, and I think Fat Mike gets a lot of the bad
Yeah.
press
Totally.
he gets from that, because he's gotten to a point in his life where when people do that, he just tells them to fuck off,
Yeah.
like literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's and that's just it, right? That's the thing about what stuff that we do, because there's podcasts out there that like they're trying to like catch somebody, right? They're trying to do that.
Yep. Yeah.
They're trying to get their viral moment, right?
Yep. They're trying to get that soundbite.
Yeah, they're trying to get
Yeah.
the clickbait or whatever.
Yep.
And they're
Yeah.
baiting someone into trying to do that. And then you get the ones that are like, like they might be more like just professional, but it's like a junket interview. Like I don't want to hear them talk about the same album over and over. I
Right.
want to know like, hey, when you found out like people liked it, what did you think? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
how many times I've talked to people and I was like, like they're whatever song takes off or whatever, and they're like, that's not the one I want. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's cool to and I love podcasts that are similar like ours, because you're gonna get something else out of John Grove, and I get something else out of John Grove. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's perfect. It's I don't know. I just this format is just so much easier and like organic.
Yeah.
Just
Totally.
organic.
Yeah. I know Matt and I started this because we were both in bands and COVID hit, and there was so many, it just kind of like the opportunities for us to play were killed, and so many of our friends and bands that we've played with were killed. And we just wanted to set this up as like an opportunity for these people to still put out content in some way. We had no idea what the fuck we were doing.
No, me neither. I still don't.
Yeah. No, it's like, all right, we have microphones and a computer. Let's do this. Like that's, you know what I mean? But yeah, I've made so many friends doing this, and it's so valuable to me. Like, just thinking about like, I still hang out with some of my high school friends, but some of my best friends now are people that I've met through playing shows and doing this podcast. And like some of them around the country that I haven't even met face to face, but I talk to on a regular basis. And it's just really, really cool. And it's this podcast has kind of like brought the whole like local punk scene, whether it's LA or, we talk to people from here, from Tennessee, from, Chicago, Milwaukee. It's just like, it kind of brings it all into one little family, you know, like
Mhm.
community, like you were saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been like the coolest thing I've ever done, and you know, it's just great. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
That's all.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like it's, you know, and you're bringing people to get together, and now people, you know, you might two musicians might find out about each other through this, get networked, and then you know what I mean, network with each other, and then they're doing a project together. It's cool. It's cool, man. It's just I don't know, because like I said, like there's, you know, you got Gen Pop when it comes to like when it comes to like music, like they Gen Pop people are just like, yeah, what's on the radio is good. There's no good music anymore. Nothing will ever beat this fucking Ted Nugent record. You know what I mean? Like, you got assholes like that, but then you got like the lifers that are like we're in it, whether we play instruments or not, whether we're on stage or not, like we're in this, and we're the ones that find the you know, the gems in the world, you know.
Totally.
Like I always talk about the band Coffin Salesman from Boston. Like they are my favorite band. They're the
Coffin Salesman.
Coffin Salesman. Yeah.
That's a good
Awesome name.
They have
Good name.
they have a clarinet player, and she's so goddamn good.
Awesome.
She had so they had put out the band's like changed over the years, but they had put out this one song with like this ripping violin solo, and now she has it with the clarinet because they don't have a violin player anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like I watch people just like they're mesmerized by this band.
Yeah,
and like, but like, you know, they're the ones like, and they do weird shit, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? But like, you know, you get someone that's like, ooh, you know, go back to the Ted Nugent thing. Like the band The Scoffs, right? So when someone's like, oh, there's no good music, it's all classic music, I'm like, here, listen to this. Because I can pick their brain a little bit. Like, all right, they're gonna like The Scoffs because, like, again, they sound like a cross between Slade and Thin Lizzy. You know what I mean? So like, this is gonna be.
I gotta type this Scoffs right into my fucking Spotify right now. I'll forget.
They have that aesthetic too. You'll love it. You'll love it. It's like, yeah. So like I talked to, like, you know what I mean? So it's being able, and I was always a kid that, like, when I heard something new, like the first time I heard, you know, Shoots and Ladders by Korn, I'm like, hey guys, come here, listen to that. You know what I mean? Or like, I've always been that. So doing the podcast, it's just an extension of that, right? I have this record club too. And that I run. It was getpunk.com's record club, and he was closing up shop. So he asked me to take it over. I said, well, how much? And he was like, here.
Yeah.
You know, here's all the money from the people that you got to give records to still. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. So I took this thing over, and like, you know, I was a member of the club since it like first happened. And I remember the dopamine hit I got opening up package and seeing a record of a band I didn't know.
Yep.
And now I'm getting a dopamine hit by finding these bands and sending them to people who are going to enjoy it and get the same thing out of it, you know? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun doing that stuff. And it all comes back around, right? It's just what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think podcasts like yours in you know, and ones like that, they're important. These are important podcasts to have. We're leaving something, like we're leaving an imprint in the world, you know, and when we're gone, maybe someone's going to find these archives of this thing. Like, totally. I remember radio, and radio's all but dead now. You know, it's God and sports own radio now.
Yep,
you know,
that's it. There's a couple good morning radio shows that exist still, but it's few and far between.
Yeah, but like, so we're taking, whether we consciously know it or not, we're taking elements from what we heard growing up, and we're adding to this. And I think it's a, you know, this is a great thing. It's a great format. It's a great platform. You know. Yeah.
Just this week, I had a friend hit me up, and we had this band called 40 Reps, great band from Richmond, Virginia. And he was like, hey, you know, ever since that episode, I can't stop listening to them. He would have never heard of them if it wasn't for them being on this podcast.
Everyone can't stop listening to them. That freaking record is amazing.
Hold on, I'm writing that one down.
So 40 reps.
40 reps.
Like the number 40 and then REPS reps. They just dropped their first full length in November, I believe. It's so good.
That makes me feel so good when somebody finds a band because we talked about them that otherwise they would have never even heard of. That's exactly why Matt and I started this, and it makes me feel so good. Like,
Ron, I have some. Red came out here to tell me something. I got some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Especially since we were talking about it just before Trev signed on here. RKL just officially announced their comeback for 2024.
Get the fuck out of here.
With the dude from Municipal Waste as their lead vocals.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's off of. I mean, the thing she just showed me was off of Matt Martin posted it in the OBH Facebook.
Thanks, Red.
Yep. She said you're welcome. Yeah,
Damn.
so there's a video of him singing to that song, that video that
without the singer, yeah.
Without the singer, yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, Trev, Ron, and I are giant RKL fans.
Everyone I know who loves that band are giant fans of that band.
Yeah.
Now, where are they from? And where are you guys? Where are you guys? You guys in Pennsylvania?
I'm in Maryland.
No.
I'm in Virginia.
Yeah, Maryland and Virginia.
So
Crofton, Maryland, Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Gotcha.
So basically, DC is what we say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
and RKL's an LA band.
Yeah.
I believe.
There's some good
Just
bands.
north of LA, yeah.
Good bands out of DC. Curse Words is out of DC, right?
Yes.
Yes. As a matter of fact,
show.
when you were talking about networking and stuff, I was going to say I saw a little like picture you posted of I guess it was like your best albums of the year or something.
Yeah.
And I saw Curse Words' new album was up there, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, because Curse Words are boys.
And girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do a monthly show. It used to be called Bandcamp Friday. It's like, so you guys have like multiple shows on your like channel, right? You guys do different kind of.
We do a sports one every 2 weeks as well.
Yeah. So once a month we do. It used to be called Bandcamp Friday because it ran with like when the Bandcamp was doing Bandcamp Fridays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just call it the Round Table, but we did our best of we did our best of 2023 or favorites of 2023, and myself and someone else picked them on the list, and I was pissed because he like announced it before me. But no, I love that band, and I love like the album is so fucking good.
Yeah, it is.
Hell yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, one of my band's last shows, we played with them in DC at some. God, it was the basement of some row house in DC. I remember standing outside. There were like all these rats running around, and there was so many people smoking weed in the basement you could barely see anything, and nobody brought a mic stand, so we had to hang the mics from the ceiling around like the water pipes. It was such like a classic punk, but it was only like a couple years ago. It was like one of our last shows we played. They're great. I love those. It
actually kind of sounds like a Nine Inch Nails video. Like there's rats running around, microphone wires hanging from the pipes. Fucking, you can't see anything with the smoke.
Did Craig actually hit me up the other day because they're trying to do a 10-year anniversary show this year because this is their 10-year anniversary. So he was asking us if before he explored other options if we might want to throw that one. So I would really like to do that this year. Yeah. Late April, early May or something like that in DC. Sounds like it is definitely something we want to do. I love those people.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a good venue in DC that lets us put on shows.
That's awesome.
Pretty much whenever we want to. So
do you have do you use like a name for that? Like, is it our Brains Hurt show or?
Yeah, it's just OBH Presents.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We used to do the podcast from the show and interview the bands. In theory, it sounds awesome, but we found out after about 4 of them that they don't really turn out to be the best episodes.
Yeah.
So we kind of stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put on, the January of 2023, we planned this thing for like over a year. I thought of it like my idea was, we called it an evening with, and so I took like a musician, and it was like, they would perform, and in between songs we'd sit down and talk about the process and all that shit. I thought of it like inside the actor's studio meets like Unplugged kind of.
Yeah.
Yep. And I found a venue to do it, and it was like a 50-room cap. We sold out, which was awesome. And we did this thing, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
A ton of fucking work.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I'd like to do like more of that though. I'd like to like book a show and put on a show somewhere. I don't know. I'm so like self-sabotaging. Like I'm just like, no one's gonna fucking go to a show you're putting on, or you're gonna fuck it all up. You know what I mean? I do that a lot. I do that a lot. So I try to. It's like when you get like the PR stuff from all these bands, and I'm like, nah, they're too big. They're too big for this little show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fuck up like that all the time. So, but I'd like to do that. I might want to pick your guys' brain at one point about how to do that.
For sure.
Anytime, man.
And I can tell you more stories about growing up in Rhode Island. I guess I don't know what I can offer in return, but
No, and if you ever want to do like if you ever have some bands up there that want to come down and play DC, just let us know.
Yeah.
And it'd be cool if you came down too. It'd be awesome to meet you in person. Like we could hang out, and it's a really cool venue. It's a cool spot. It's like 100-person cap room, but the sound is amazing. The people who work there are great. It's a pie shop, so they actually sell pie.
Oh yeah. I've heard of this place.
Yeah.
I think Breeze told me about.
Yes.
This place.
Yeah, she's been there. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great spot. Yeah, the downstairs is like the pie shop restaurant, and the upstairs is the venue.
So
They
we're
have-
talking like pizza,
Like
So,
pie, like proper pie.
like proper pie. Okay,
Yeah.
it could go either way,
but also it's like sweet and savory. So it's
Yeah.
like actual proper pie, and then you got like 80 different flavors of like dinner pies, like pot pies almost.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
my favorite is this thing called a smog. So it's like it's steak, mushroom, onion, and Gruyere cheese in a pie.
They got like Guinness stew pie.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they have and then you have your classic sweet pies too. It's awesome.
Yeah,
You guys are
place
making
will-
me hungry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go to this thing. I'm gonna have to go to this thing. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fucking fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I would love to do that. I'd love to help it. That's just it, right? So like I see like bands sometimes they don't know how. Maybe they have the same like complex as I do, where they think they're not worthy of like networking and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Probably.
I'd love to help people. Bree actually helped a friend of mine's band get a spot, because like the place they were supposed to play somewhere, and it fell through, and they were on a tour.
Yeah.
So they ended up playing at the Kennel over in York.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they ended up playing there, and so it's cool. Again, the podcast helps that, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't have the podcast to network with anybody, then
Yeah.
I'd have been like, shit out of luck, bud.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's a lot of this stuff, man. Again, and I might not know what I'm doing, but I'll try my best.
Yeah. How did you meet Bree?
Just I don't know, through like podcasting stuff.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Jimmy Minarchik, maybe.
Who's
I
that?
don't know. He's a friend of hers. I had him on.
Okay.
He used to have a podcast, and he'd introduced us, and we started talking, and I was like, oh, okay, and she's a go-getter, so
Super cool.
Yeah.
yeah, and she works really hard for bands and stuff. So I was like,
yeah. Hell
someone
yeah.
I can relate to. So I was like, yeah, let's and like we've she's been on my podcast a few times, and
Yeah.
I try to help whatever she needs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, same.
Yeah, she's rad. Yeah, we love Bree. And I know I told you about I told her I was going to tell the story about when Bree and I had a threesome with a clown, but I'll let her tell that on you could ask her. Ask if you talk to Bree, ask her.
Any of you out there.
yeah. Even if you don't know her, just
Especially if you don't know her.
imagine that. Imagine everyone just starts hitting her up. Hey, talk about this.
Yeah. It was,
She was just down here, actually, not this past weekend, but the New Year's Eve
Oh, okay.
weekend. There was a cool show down in Richmond with a bunch of I think at least 2 allegedly bands. I
Oh,
think.
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and some friend, a bunch of other good friends and stuff. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Fucking place was packed.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why
Awesome.
I'm like, you can't call this a scene.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
too big. It's too big.
Yeah.
It's too big and it lasts. Anybody there's a lot of people who are scene people, and I don't think their stuff lasts. You know what I mean? Or it won't last because there's a lot of negativity in that space. Like they're
There
very exclusive. It's just
Yeah, totally. Cool Kids Club. Yep.
Not my thing.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the
Um,
music.
Yeah, totally. All right. So we asked these 3 questions to everybody. And I'm going to ask you these 3 questions. Kind of random questions, but the first one is, if you were on death row, what would your final meal be?
I don't know, probably like scallops and white wine. Yeah.
Scallops and white wine?
Yeah, like garlic, put a little garlic
Hell
in
yeah.
there. And,
I'm a fan of this.
Yes.
I need, that's one of those 7 fishes. I need those 7
Hell yeah.
fishes. I can't.
Yeah.
Ah, God. This coming Christmas is good. This is going to be the one.
They got to be the big ones though, not those fucking.
Fuck
not the
Big
little
sea
ones.
scallops, yeah.
Not the little ones you just swallow like they're pills. not
Yeah.
those.
Dude, they're so good. God, scallops are so good.
The 3-biter, at least scallops.
Yeah. Like small meatball size
Yeah.
scallops. Yeah.
The ones you can put in your mouth in one shot, but it's kind of embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Scallops, that's good. I like that one.
I like scallops. Yeah, garlic and white wine. Like
Nice.
Oh, just scallops. Like no sides, no side dishes, no nothing.
Over some linguine.
yes, sure. Yeah, we'll go with linguine.
There you go.
I should have just said spaghetti and meatballs because that's like my favorite thing in the world, but that's too obvious. You know what I mean?
Now I want to go make spaghetti.
Is that your go-to Italian dish, spaghetti and meatballs?
I mean, if my mom's making it, probably.
Yeah.
You know? My grandfather's meatballs were the best, man, and I've been trying to make them.
Yeah.
Like to emulate it, and I get close, but not close enough.
Yeah.
I actually just made meatballs last night.
Nice.
Yeah. So like, preparing for work, I'm like, I'll eat some meatball sandwiches at work this week.
Yeah. It's funny because as somebody who, like, my grandmother was an amazing cook and her meatballs were fucking. It's like I don't like going to Italian restaurants because
same.
It's it's just not. I've had it all, and I've had it all better.
Yeah.
If I go home, there's a few delis that make grinders or subs, whatever you guys call it where you are.
Totally.
And I'll get like a meatball from them, or like actually this time around I didn't make my own mix. I picked some up while I was home. I picked some up from a deli that makes pretty good fucking
nice.
So that would so it's gonna be scallops or meatball. What about scallops and meatball? 2 different flavors.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it, yeah. All
Your
right,
last meal, dude.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I also think we should start changing everybody's opinion on subs. They should all be called grinders. It is the superior name.
Yes.
I mean, we don't call them that down here, but I think everybody should start doing it because it's the superior name.
It is.
It really is. Grinders. Yeah, grinder, hoagie, sub.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go get a grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Second question is, now that you're
Eaten?
dead, they could. This is something they actually do now. So they could actually, if you get cremated, they could take your ashes and form it into a vinyl record of your choice.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So if you were going to have your ashes eternalized in an album, which one would you pick? And it has to be an album that exists.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh gosh. Can it be a test pressing? No, I'm just kidding. God damn it. All right. I mean, I've got options here, but I don't know which one it would be. Probably the Ducky Boys Dark Days.
Dark Days. All right.
Yeah. Or Sinner and Saints. Wow, I just drew a blank on the name of the what album, like the album name. But so that it would probably be Ducky Boys Dark Days. That's like that was when I learned about the band and I learned like about music or about the music that I love so much out of Boston. And so it would probably be that one.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Sweet. All right. So third question is yeah, totally. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of punk rock? And you get 5 people because you get a Crazy Horse too. So
and this could be this doesn't necessarily have to be like punk rock, just your Mount Rushmore of
music.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask, does it have to be like, how do you guys pick these? Like, is it like culturally influenced, or is it like personally influenced, or just what you think sound like, you know what I mean? Like
I would say it's personal to you. Like who do you think who are the 5 most influential punk
So-
rockers to you?
Some people will make a band out of it.
Yeah, some
Some
people.
people
Yeah.
just do their most
yeah.
influential
Yeah.
people. Yeah, it's just
I'm gonna have to pick because it's influential to me, right? So, being a storyteller, I'm gonna go with lyrical writing and
Okay.
and who I think who I think had the best like lyrical writing. So there's gonna be like people that are like we've probably never heard of at this point.
It's all
you know?
good.
that's
Yeah.
that's cool.
Well, all right. So I think Ryan Young from Off of Their Heads would be on there because I don't think you get much more gut wrenching lyrical than that.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Mark Linda's a very good songwriter, very good lyrical songwriter. Anything to do with heartbreak, that dude will write it, and you'll hear it. There's a band that's no longer out of Boston called the Old Edison, and Will Good as a songwriter is absolutely phenomenal, and so he would be on there too. I'm gonna keep it local, I guess.
Cool.
Why not?
And we're talking storytelling still, so this will work. Growler from Thou Merciless Graves. They're like this. Thou Merciless Graves is like shanty music meets like this dark kind of atmospheric, and like they put on these incredible shows that have like people performing while they're singing and
Nice.
stuff like so
That's cool.
yeah, so we'll go with that, and then I'm gonna put my friend Arya Rad on there as well, from Coffin Salesman, and he was also he's in a few other bands as well, but yeah, he can write a tune as well.
What was the dark shanty band called?
Thou Merciless Graves.
That I think I've heard of this band before.
Cool.
Yeah.
See, now we have a lot of bands to look up. That's another thing I love about this podcast is when people give us bands to find out. Yeah.
Oh man, I could give you a list. Trust me. Yeah, no, those are the ones, because like again, I'm a storyteller. I write things,
Yeah.
and I think those would probably be my favorites that write things. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll go with that. I had to pick my brain isn't set up for like out of every. I had to narrow it down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I understand. Yeah, totally.
It's hard.
Like-
It's a hard one to get.
what's when someone's like, "What's your favorite movie?" It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
give me a genre at least.
Yeah,
Let me. You know, I default to Drive. I say Drive's my favorite movie. So
Nice. What's your favorite horror movie?
Halloween, because
Okay.
just because, you know what I'm saying?
The original?
Yeah.
So good. It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of As Above, So Below as well, though.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
don't know that one. Okay.
It's
That's
a
good one.
it's a found footage movie about
Oh, sweet. Okay.
the catacombs in France.
But it would
cool.
work if it wasn't, and that's why I
Yeah.
like it so much. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
That's one of the better found footage movies.
yeah.
There's not like a ton of found footage movies out there that I'm like, oh, I fucking love that movie. But As
Yeah.
Above, So Below is a good one.
Found footage, you mean like Blair Witch style?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
shaky
gotcha.
cam and
Yeah,
shit.
Cool. Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks so much for doing this. And why don't you just like plug all your shit? Where can people find you? All that good stuff.
Yeah. All right. So if you listen to podcasts, which I hope you do because you're listening to this one,
Mhm.
the Struggling Artist podcast is where you can any podcast platform you use, we're on there. If you want to go over to the Instagrams, it's at podcast TSA, and the Record Club. If you want to see what I'm talking about with the Record Club, strugglingartistrecordclub.com. You will get an LP every month. New members right now. I have a run of a run of this EP that I give away. Like if you're a new member, you get that in addition to the LP, and it's there's 100 black, and I have them all, so they're mine. So it's the only way you can get that one if you're into that collector
Nice.
thing and like rare whatever. Yeah, and it's all punk rock and punk rock adjacent over there. So Struggling Artist Record Club is the website.
Awesome. And I'll add all those links on to the when we publish the podcast. So
Awesome.
people can
Appreciate
click and go there. Yeah. And we'll be talking again next week.
Yeah, you guys
Which
are
is
gonna come
rad.
on the Struggling Artist.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a
Hell
lot of
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, we'll continue this in about 7 days time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or
Can't wait.
so.
Hell yeah. Awesome, man. Dude, thanks so much. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Absolutely.
take care.
Yep.
Later.
See ya.